mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Scott Earhart here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Do want to thank you all very, very much for taking the time to join us. Today is a unique presentation that I'm very excited about. We'll be looking at our proprietary products, the Power Select series, with AIG American General. And in order to do that, I will have Mr. Jared Anderson, our relationship manager with Market Synergy Group, the group that designed these products and helps us to distribute them, here in office with us. We will hand this over to him here shortly, but he will be able to give you a very in-depth look at exactly how these products work, and will be willing to field any questions that you all may have. With that being said, a couple of housekeeping items and a few introductory slides before I hand it over to Jared. First housekeeping item is our phone number. Our number is there on the top left-hand corner of your screen. That number is 800-255-5055. And if there is anything we can be doing to assist you in growing your business in the life and fixed annuity markets, please do not hesitate to give a call. We absolutely would like that opportunity to assist you. Also, as we go through the introductory slides here, I will launch a polling question or two. If you would please take the time to click yes or no on those polling questions, we do certainly appreciate everyone's participation there. And then the final housekeeping item, as we go throughout the presentation, if you do have any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions box. We will do the best we can to get those answered while we are live and in session, and I will call each of you individually later today or tomorrow to follow up, make sure we did get them answered thoroughly as well. With that being said, I do want to make sure everyone's aware of our Life and Annuity Academy. We held 4, I believe, this year, and we do have plans on holding at least 4 next year. I don't have dates yet. What we will do is bring you and about 45 or 50 other producers in to a location, normally somewhere here in the Midwest. We've done Omaha, we've done Des Moines, we've done Kansas City area, but it'll be somewhere in the middle of the country. Makes travel fairly easy for everyone. What we do in these Life and Annuity Academies is we'll bring in our internal staff, myself, Mark Raymakers, who is our life director, Matt Neal, who is our creative director. We'll all be in to present to you on things that fall under our purview, but not product-specific things. Implementation of product, marketing ideas, these are all things that we want to bring to the table for you at these academies. Also, we will have Steve Murray and Charles Hiring, our executive team and ownership team of IAMS, there as well. What they want to do is meet you, get to know you, understand your business, and make sure we're tailoring your experience here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services specifically to you and your business so that it can be as successful as possible. And we will bring in presenters from different carriers from throughout our organization. We do ask these carriers reps to not just bring product pitch, we want them to bring a sales idea with it. So we want them to show you what products they offer, but also the niches that they fill and how you may be able to market to that niche. So very valuable information there from a carrier standpoint. And then what I believe is the most beneficial of all of these academies is we will bring in at least 4 of our sales coaches from throughout the country to chat with you about what they do in their daily business that makes them so successful. Now, to be a sales coach at IAMS, you not only have to be able to talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk as well. So these individuals are going to be individuals who are top producers in and of themselves. They are multiple time top producer qualifiers, and they are going to show you what they do in their business that makes them that successful and that top 1% of advisors in the country, and give you the ability to take their sales concepts and ideas back home with you and implement them in your daily practice. So with that being said, we will have emails going out early in 2017 with dates for our first academy. Please, if it's of interest to you, we absolutely want you to take advantage of it. We want you to apply, and hopefully we will be able to bring you in. If you have any questions on the Life or Annuity Academy, when I call to follow up, please don't hesitate to give a call. We are qualifying right now for our Caddies and Casinos trip. This is on Athene Premium only. It is qualification period ending December 31st. So you do have a whole quarter to qualify. Only $1.25 million in Athene annuity production will get you over the top. A little bit on the trip. I got a few more details today. Super excited because we will be staying at the Four Seasons Mandalay Bay, one of the absolute nicest properties in Vegas. So super excited about that. For those of you who are golfers, we will be playing the Royal Links and Bali High. So two incredible courses. And if you've never checked out Royal Links, I'd certainly encourage you to do so. Beautiful, beautiful place. If you have any questions about qualification or what we can be doing to help you reach that 1.25 million mark, please don't hesitate to give a call. Absolutely love to have that conversation with you. I mentioned Matt Neal's name a little earlier in the introduction. He is our creative director. We do have a full service creative team here at IAMS, and we can certainly help you in branding your business and building your business. If you have any questions on how this works or what we can do to save you money as compared to your current distribution platform, please don't hesitate to give Matt a call here at 800-255-5055. He'd love to chat with you about what he and his team can do. My favorite slide in any presentation that we give, easy money now. Right-hand side is marketing reimbursement. Rough numbers on that are for every $200 in marketing reimbursement that we place, or for every $100,000 in fixed indexed annuity business that you place through IAMS, we will put $200 into your marketing reimbursement account. I actually had a few of my guys on my team, producers that roll up onto my team, request marketing reimbursement this week, and we just sent out checks, I believe, in the range of $5,000 today. So it can be very, very lucrative. One of our top producers and sales coaches a little while back said to me, Scott, I think about marketing reimbursement as an override on business I'm writing through IAMS anyway. I think that's a great way to think about it. It's an override on business you're going to write, so why not take advantage of? If you would like to know how much money you have in your marketing reimbursement account, or if you'd like to know a little bit more about how the program works, when I call to follow up, please just ask. Love to have that conversation with you as well. Left-hand side of your screen is our referred producer program. We call it RPM, or referred producer money. Our business here on the wholesale side of things is extremely similar to yours out there in the field, in that one of the best leads we're ever going to get is a referral from one of our valued clients, or you, our valued producer. So we want to make it worth your while to refer individuals to us. When you refer a licensed agent over to us and they choose to contract with any of our 56 carriers, we will send you a check for $50 just as a thank you. Now, where the real money comes into play is, as that referral writes business, we're going to give you a 20 basis point override on that business. Steve and Charles cut these checks at least quarterly, and I can tell you there's no check that they would rather sign than those. If there is a referral that you would like to bring into IAMS, if you think we could be of service to them and help them grow their business, please let me know. Any information, contact information you have on that individual, I will do the best I can to get them recruited here into the IAMS family and get you on your way to earning some RPM dollars. I know that we are talking about annuities and fixed indexed annuities specifically on today's presentation, but we would be amiss if we did not mention a really, really lucrative business and an aspect of field work that a lot of times gets overlooked in single premium life or an annuity alternative. We have all had the experience where we wrote an annuity 8, 9, 10 years ago, and clients said, oh, I'm going to need an income from this in retirement. And here we are, and they're not touching it. They're going to leave it as a death benefit or a legacy benefit for their children, for their charity, church, whatever it may be. That's a dead asset. That asset's not doing anyone any good. It's not in a tax-favored position like the clients would like it or like the beneficiaries would like to receive it, because that annuity is going to be taxable to those beneficiaries. It also isn't generating you a new commission. So with that being said, a single premium life with the stroke of a pen can create a tax-free death benefit that's actually going to be worth more than what their annuity value is currently. Continue to give clients access to the cash value if needed. In many states, give them accelerated benefits for long-term care purposes or confinement purposes. Also, it will generate a new commission for you. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about what we do here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services with single premium life and how we may be able to help you grow your business through utilization of single premium life, please let us know. We'd absolutely love that opportunity. And with that being said, that brings me to the end of my slides. I'm going to mute the microphone very, very briefly and get Jared's presentation loaded up. And the next voice you'll hear will be Mr. Jared Anderson to go through some great product with AIG American General.
All right, thank you guys for your patience here as we try and handle this webinar, as I said, in IAMS office today. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. So we're going to quickly go through the Power Select Plus product series from AIG. As Scott had mentioned to you earlier, my name is Jared Anderson from Market Synergy Group, and we were part of the development of this product. And again, really appreciate you guys taking the time to be on this call today. We understand there's choices, you have options, and we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to look at what we have to offer. So what you have up in front of you now is kind of a theme, if you will, a logo, a piece that we use within our office at Market Synergy, and it's GPA. We feel like annuities are actually bought in 3 different scenarios, either guaranteed income, performance-based, or participating income, and then accumulation opportunities. And we feel pretty fortunate to have all 3 of those options available with the Power Select series through AIG American General. So briefly, what we want to do is go through all of those with you in 20, 30 minutes and then allow you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. As I mentioned to you earlier, there's really 2 different product options. Power Select Plus Income has 2 different income rider options, one being the Lifetime Income Plus, which is a guaranteed income that we'll talk about here in a moment, and then one being the Lifetime Income Plus Multiplier, which is more of a performance-based for those clients who are willing to take on a little bit of the risk in order to see a higher return. Where we've seen a big majority of our sales, though, comes through the Power Select Builder, which is strictly a safe accumulation type of a product, giving the client that opportunity to utilize free withdrawals if they choose to do so and not have to pay an income rider fee. And we're going to talk here in a moment about why that's important and why we think that makes sense from a sales perspective. Just some statistics that I think we're all probably familiar with. 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every single day. So there's obviously a huge need for the types of retirement products that we provide. And then for a 65-year-old couple, there's a good chance that there's going to be 30 years of that income or 30 years of that retirement. So the necessity for lifetime income is huge. It's something that we've all focused on over the past 5 to 10 years in the design of these specific types of products, and it's getting more and more competitive out there. Just a couple more features of the product. I don't know if Scott mentioned this earlier. I had to step out. 5% premium bonus on any premiums received over 100,000. I will tell you that there are some product changes coming up that take place October 10th. Some different things that will take place in regards to the caps and rates actually improving, taking away some of the bonus, if you will, as well as some of the crediting strategies. But what we're going to talk about today is the product as we see it, as it sets right now. Again, talking about the bonus of 5% over 100,000, that number will go away. We're going away from bonus. We think that's going to be an industry norm. Not looking to necessarily incent the consumer with any sort of a bonus, but really put it back into product and allow the product to work the way that it's designed to do and provide them with income opportunities throughout the term of the retirement. Again, showing you some of the crediting strategies that are available. Currently, we have 6. We will be taking 2 of those away, the monthly point-to-point and monthly average, which accounted for less than 2% of our overall business. We'll continue to focus on the annual point-to-point as well as the participation strategy. And then our version of the volatility control, the MLSB, the Merrill Lynch Strategic Balance Index. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more into detail here in just a moment. So from an accumulation standpoint, one of the things that I mentioned earlier, the majority of our sales are coming from the Power Select Builder, which, as I mentioned, is just a simple, safe accumulation type of a product on a 10-year chassis with commissions, average commissions, commission bonus opportunity for you, the agent, and more importantly, a 10-year product that is very simple, easy and clean, and easy for the consumer to understand. But where we've really seen the sales driven in this specific product is through the MLSB strategy, which happens to be up year to date a little bit over 7%. So just looking at a comparison from the S&P over the last 20 years, as you can see on the screen here, it's averaged around 10% annualized returns over the last 20 years. When we focus on the MLSB strategy, what we're trying to do, what the idea behind the design is, how can we have a consistent growth throughout the term of the contract? And as you can see with the S&P at a little over 10%, the MLSB strategy is averaged right around 8 over that same time frame. So ultimately what we're trying to accomplish is see, as I mentioned, consistent returns throughout the term of that contract. I'll talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. Excuse me. As I mentioned, 2 different product lines. This specific strategy is available on both product lines. What you'll see on the left of your screen is the Power Select Builder, which we see a ton of sales in from the safe accumulation perspective. Then we'll talk more specifically about the Power Select Plus Income and the different rider options that it has available. So why all the sales in the Power Select Builder? There's all sorts of different philosophies to look at when you talk about fixed indexed annuities and the types of features that they provide. But we've taken it a step further and said, why do we think it makes sense to maybe utilize an accumulation type of a product with the opportunity to maybe change that client's overall retirement portfolio, if you will, in the next 5 to 10 years. And what I'm saying here is we talk about the innovation in our industry and talk about the way things change over a short period of time. This is a 10-year product, and the way we look at it with current interest rates as low as they are today, we feel as if our innovative industry is going to continue to come out with new products that are better and better for the client, better and better for the consumer when interest rates allow. I looked this morning, the 10-year Treasury hasn't dipped over 2% over the last 6 months, which is historic lows, extremely difficult for companies to price insurance products. So we've taken a different philosophy and a different approach and said, why don't we put our clients into some sort of a safe accumulation retirement vehicle that allows for free withdrawals. We can utilize those free withdrawals in order to get the income that's necessary. And then when interest rates do rise, we'll have the ability to reevaluate their plan and put them into something that makes a little bit more sense. And that story is really stuck with a lot of the agents and advisors that we work with. And on the screen, you'll see what we've seen over the last 10 years from a change standpoint. GPS invented in 2005. Facebook with its billions and billions of users, 2005. YouTube, Twitter, iPhone, iPad. All of that stuff has happened in the last 10 years, and we don't think our industry is any different. When we look at the industry as a whole, turning 21 this year, first indexed annuity introduced back in 1995 from Keyport Sun Life with a 5-year reset strategy on it. Fast forward to 99 and it's $5 billion in sales. You can go on down the line and see what our industry has done over the last 21 years and expect to see something very similar to that in the years going forward. And we're extremely excited about that. So again, if we go back to the idea and the thought process that we're at an all-time low from an interest rate environment standpoint, why are we locking our clients into some sort of an income rider type of a product that has a fee when we know a rise in interest rate means better designs within the product, companies getting more aggressive in the way that they price and giving us better opportunities. We've got a great safe accumulation story with the builder, and we've seen a tremendous amount of success with that simply because of that. Fast forwarding to 2009, 30 billion in sales. The expectation is, somewhere in that 50 billion range again this year. Obviously, with DOL looming, there's been some things that have slowed down a little bit, but we feel pretty strongly that we've got a very, very important industry for the retirement consumer and fully expect to be a part of it going forward as well. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier, and this, some of these numbers are a little bit dated, if you will, but it gives you the idea of the concept behind what we're trying to accomplish here with the existing product designs that are available through insurance companies with current treasury rates. As it sets today, the last time I looked, we were at somewhere around 162. So you can see 10 years ago, or at least back in April of 2006, that 10-year treasury was over 5, and then going back 20 years, that number was even higher at 671. So again, if you take the approach that we have potentially a rise in interest rates over the next 5 to 10 years, we like the idea of safe accumulation and utilizing those free withdrawals because we think that makes sense. We think that the companies like ours and others out there that we compete with are going to continue to be extremely innovative in the types of products that they design, and we can accomplish the same thing with the performance of any given strategy. And I think it goes, this holds true for all companies. If you look at something that doesn't have an income rider fee, I think we're probably doing a better service for those specific clients in the current interest rate that we're dealing with. So what drives our sales? What drives our product? What drives the design? It's the MLSB strategy, or the ML Strategic Balance Index. So I briefly want to touch base with you on this one and give you some ideas on exactly how this works, and then again at the end we can answer any questions that you may have. But just like any other volatility controlled or hybrid type of an index, it seeks to provide stable returns using rules-based approach blending equity and fixed income asset classes. So there's two different indices, okay? S&P 500 without dividends and the Merrill Lynch 10-year Treasury futures. So the reason we think ours is different and we think ours competes better than any that are out there is because of that second portion, the fixed income class of the Merrill Lynch 10-year Treasury futures. Generally speaking, when you put a client into some sort of an annuity product today, they're locking into current Treasury rates. The uniqueness behind the design of the MLSB strategy is they're actually 10-year Treasury futures. So ultimately what happens, the design is there to essentially follow the 10-year Treasury rate throughout the 10-year term of the contract. Now, it's not going to be exact, but the idea is to buy 3-month near maturity futures on the 10-year Treasury to, again, follow that Treasury rate as close as we possibly can. So if you think, like I do, that over the next 10 years we're going to see a raise in interest rates, we get to take advantage of that with this specific strategy. So we feel like this one is truly unique in what it does and its design, and also gives the client the ability to take advantage of a rise in interest rates. So there's a dynamic blend, as I mentioned, between the two indices, and then it has the ability to go in and out of cash to utilize the volatility control version of it. So as I mentioned, 3 key features of the MLSB strategy. It's a rules-based index, and Merrill Lynch is the one that designed the strategy, so obviously they're the only ones that have access to the rule book. Volatility controlled and dynamic allocations. Just looking at it next to the S&P 500 from 1994 to 2013, again, 14 and 15 wasn't a whole lot different. These are the charts that were created from the very beginning, but you can see that the idea is to see steady returns throughout the retirement term. So you see here back in 1994, S&P was negative, as was the MLSB strategy. But then again, you don't see another negative year over the next 18 or so. So again, the design is to control volatility. When volatility is high, we focus more specifically on the focus more specifically on the fixed index asset class of the ML Treasury futures, and then again have the ability to control it in and out of cash. Combining rules-based indexes, volatility control, and dynamic allocation to provide stable returns. That's the key, and that's what I want you guys to take away from this conversation that we're having here today. Stable returns throughout the term of the contract. Again, going back to utilizing an accumulation type of product to providing the income that the consumer is looking for until we have the ability to upgrade, for lack of a better term, when interest rates allow us to do so. So that's a quick overview on the Power Select Builder. Now what we want to do is talk about our G and P and our GPA, our guaranteed income as well as performance-based. And for that, we have the Power Select Plus Income product. Now, it's the same product that offers two different income rider options. First, what we're going to do is talk about the Lifetime Income Plus. The Lifetime Income Plus is our guaranteed income rider that actually has a unique keep the difference feature that allows that client to see a guaranteed rise in income for the first 10 years of the contract. So as I mentioned, we talk a little bit about it here, 6.5% simple interest roll up on the income rider. And what I would ask of each and every one of you on the call today is if you have a guaranteed income case that you're looking at, you have a consumer that says, I know I need X amount of dollars in order for me to retire, what can you provide for me? Give somebody at IAMS here a phone call and ask them to run you an illustration. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, we are most competitive in the early stages of the income solution. So if you're looking to take income right away or defer for 1, 2, 3 years, we are the most competitive in that specific spot, and in a lot of cases, tops in the industry. If you're looking 4, 5, 6 years and beyond, our recommendation is to utilize an accumulation type of a product, such as the builder, and use free withdrawals in order to get them into something that's a little bit better. And that's part of the design. That's not where we're competitive, and that's, again, by design. So the keep the difference guaranteed rising income feature, how does that work? The example I have up here on the screen is assuming a 5% payout. At age 65, the consumer receives a 5% payout. Well, as I mentioned to you on the previous slide, we guarantee 6.5% simple interest for the first 10 years of the contract term. So if they're getting credited 6.5% and they only use 5%, generally speaking, in the index annuity world that we live in today, you lock in a number and that number stays that same number for the term of the contract as long as that client lives. With ours, since we promised 6.5 and only used 5, we get to keep that 1.5 and apply it towards the income pace to see a guaranteed rise in income over that first 10 years of the contract term. In addition to that, we've got a doubling feature for any of those who do laddering planning. It's a great feature on 10-year deferrals. It gives us the opportunity to see the premium and the bonus double over a 10-year time frame if no withdrawals are taken. So this is an example of a 55-year-old with $100,000, turning that $100,000 income base into $210,000 and providing $10,500 guaranteed for as long as they live. Now, obviously, the keep the difference feature doesn't come into play here because that 6.5% is guaranteed for 10 years. So we have two different options. We have the keep the difference feature or the doubling feature for those longer term deferrals. One of the things that we're making a change on October 10th is the payout factors. And what you see here is the current payout factors. At age 65, we start at 5% with a reduction of 50 basis points on joint. That number will stay the same. However, instead of a 10 basis point increase, we will see a 5 from October 10th going forward. You know, as we talked about interest rates where they're currently at and the 10-year treasury not getting over 2% over the last 6 months, I'm sure all of you have seen that there's been a tremendous amount of changes throughout the industry, and we're no different. This is the first change that we've had to make, but from a pricing perspective, it makes sense. That's one of the changes that will take place on October 10th. So again, the most competitive scenario is those early income situations in 65 and beyond. That's where we are most competitive, and in a lot of cases, we're winning that sale. So just a quick client profile, 60-year-old wanting to retire in 5 years. I want to show you how the keep the difference feature works. Wants to see an increase in her retirement potential to help supplement Social Security at age 66. Just an example of the Lifetime Income Plus. As you can see, for the first 5 years, Jane is getting 6.5% simple interest credit to her income base. When she turns 65, she chooses to turn on income. As we talked about earlier, at age 65, that payout is 5%. Therefore, she's still getting 1.5% credit for the next 5 years. So again, goes back to the idea of 6.5% simple, guaranteed for the first 10 years of the contract. So what does that look like? We start, we start lower and then ultimately have 5 years of raises to end up at that $7,350 on a $100,000 case. Extremely competitive for those types of scenarios. As I mentioned to you earlier, our most competitive is in immediate income or in the first couple years. Generally, what we'll find is we're starting somewhere around third or fourth in industry-wide from a guaranteed income perspective. But once we get that 10 years of rising income, we ultimately are paying out more cumulative retirement to the consumer than anybody else that's out there. So again, early income is key for us from a guaranteed income standpoint, and that's where we are most competitive. Okay, so as of December of 2015, we knew the third leg of our overall annuity portfolio through AIG American General needed some performance-based income. So that's when we launched the Lifetime Income Plus Multiplier. We know that this is becoming more and more popular in our industry to see a rise in income. So we've provided something that is a little bit different than anything else that's out there in the industry. So it takes a little bit of time to learn, but once you learn it and understand it, it's a very unique product design, and it's very competitive and can provide incredible numbers for the consumer. So just a brief overview of exactly how the multiplier works. During the deferral stage, the consumer will get a 250% multiplier, or for simplicity purposes, 2.5 times whatever their interest credit was. Once they take income, it's no different than the guaranteed product, where it's essentially keep the growth is what we like to call it. So they get the adjusted multiplier, which is 1.5 times their credit minus whatever withdrawal they took. So I'll show you a couple examples on that, and then again at the very end we can ask questions if you guys have some. So assuming a 4% rate of return, which is modest, somewhere in the middle maybe what these products are designed to do. Assuming a 4% rate of return during the deferral stage, client gets a 2.5 times multiplier, making that a 10% credit to the income base. If we have $105,000, that means $10,500 is added to the income base, establishing a new income base, and then we start over and do the same thing the following year. Once we've elected income, we move to the adjusted multiplier, which again takes away the withdrawal portion, but bumping it up for example purposes. Say we hit a home run, or really what should be considered a home run in the index annuity world at 6%. We get to take that times the adjusted multiplier of 1.5 to give us 9, as you can see right here on the screen. We've already used 5, as we mentioned. We're going back to that 65-year-old example. So we still get a 4% credit to the income base during the payout phase, which is becoming more and more crucial to advisors and certainly to the consumers. A lot of times what we're seeing is clients are looking for the ability to see a growth in their retirement income throughout that retirement term, and we can do exactly that. Give you a quick client profile on Gary, 55 years old, wants to retire in 10 years. Again, maybe a Social Security play, if you will, getting him to age 66. The chart shows you the same thing. In year 1, we earn a modest return of 3%. That results in 2.5 times or 7.5% credit to the income base. 0 is 0. We all understand how that works. And then we get a 4, so that's a 10% credit to the income base. Then a 1, 2.5, we hit a home run, and 6, that's a 15% credit to the income base. So as you can see, the opportunity during the deferral stage is huge. Then once we start taking income, the same thing applies. So we're getting a 3% credit here, but we're using 5. So what happens in that scenario is 3 times that 1.5 would not get a return. Would not get a credit because it's not above that 5. But here we get an 8. 8 times that 1.5 would be 12. But we used 5, therefore you can see that they get a 7% credit to the income base. So again, providing the opportunity to see some growth throughout the retirement term is important. And this is from a performance-based standpoint. What's different with our design is, generally speaking in the industry, if you have some sort of a performance-based income rider, what will happen is they have to take a reduction in their payout at the very beginning. Maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 1.5%, whatever the case may be. Ours is no different. As you can see on, let me just go back. I'll go back to that last one. But as you can see, payout factors are exactly the same on the performance-based product as they are on the guaranteed income rider product. So again, no reduction in what they're taking up front. It just gives them the better opportunity for growth with performance within the contract, generally speaking, with the MLSP strategy. So back to Gary's profile, you can see in this scenario, and this is utilizing a most recent illustration, starting income is $8,794. By age 75, that number has grown by almost a little over $1,000. So you can see that throughout his retirement, he's essentially keeping up with equity inflation, is what we like to refer to it as. Raise in the performance of the product means rises in his income throughout his retirement term. So we covered that, just a quick overview, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Scott and open it up for any questions that you may have as we look at both different income rider options. One is guaranteed, one is performance-based. The first, the Lifetime Income Plus, offers guaranteed rising income. The other one has potential for rising income based on interest credited. Both are guaranteed for life once you turn on an income rider. The income credit period on the guaranteed product is 10 years. The other one is up to age 95 or whenever the contract value equals 0. Again, one has 6.5% simple, the other 250% during deferral, 150% less withdrawals during the payout phase. So again, Ultimately, what we're trying to accomplish for you, the advisor, is to give you different options, whether that be performance-based income, guaranteed income, or as I mentioned earlier, our number one selling product in the builder, safe accumulation, giving us the opportunity to get into an interest rate where companies start pricing products more competitive and giving the consumer something better to look at. Our thought process and philosophy is if they're looking for income in 7, 8, 9 years, they're not necessarily ready to retire. I mean, I think there's some great things out there from an illustration standpoint that they can look at. But if they're really looking to defer that long, we really feel like there's going to be more competitive, more innovative, more consumer-friendly products out there at that time. So let's take advantage of a safe accumulation, utilize the free withdrawals if necessary, and put them into something when they are ready to hit that retirement and they know that we have to have some sort of an income. I think that wraps it up. So turn it back over to Scott just 1 second. Okay. Okay. Scott now is launching a poll to ask if you would like more information on contracting with Market Synergy Group AIG with this specific product line, and then we'll also allow you the opportunity to type in any questions that you have, and we'd be happy to answer them. I know Scott also will be calling each and every one of you who attended the webinar today to follow up with you to answer any questions that you may have. If you have immediate questions and would like to call him, I will be in the office for probably the next 45 minutes to an hour and would be happy to get on the phone with each and every one of you individually if you choose to do so. Okay, hold on now, and Scott's going to take over and ask some questions.
Looks like the questions that we have had come in are pretty case specific, so what we're going to do is handle those on a offline basis. I will chat with each of you individually about those cases. We did have a referral come in via the questions box, so thank you very much for that referral. And with that being said, we're going to end the webinar here shortly. But if you haven't taken the time to click yes or no as far as interest in contracting, please do so now before we sign off. And as I am signing off, I do want to thank you all very, very much for taking the time to join us. I know spending 35, 40 minutes on a webinar with us is 35, 40 minutes where you're not out there prospecting and making sales. So we do greatly appreciate that. I know that I can echo that for Jared and the entire Market Synergy group as well. They greatly appreciate the opportunity to show you the innovation that they are creating in our industry with these great products, and we're really, really excited to have this partnership with them. That being said, I do thank you all very, very much for joining us, and I look forward to speaking with you all very, very soon.